Hello, so today is another episode. This one will be single topic. Anyway, so this episode we are going to focus on body issues. Keep it simple, so let's not waste time and let's go ahead and begin. So the idea with body issues is that everyone has them. Whether you look like an Adonis or look like Movie Bob, everyone has some amount of body issues. And, it affects everyone differently. Some people look at it and they say, hey, I could do better, while it might ruin other people's day and affect them negatively. So it's something that we need to really think about. So let's get into it. Obviously, most people consider body issues to be a woman issue, not so much affecting men, which is not true. It affects men just as much as it affects women. It just affects them differently. So many women have body dysmorphia, and a lot of it can be attributed to TV and the internet, along with just standards they impose on themselves, and that really sucks. Good diet, training, weight training can help with that, but that doesn't always help with the mental side. And men have similar issues where a lot of men will have this thing called muscle dysmorphia, which is a subset of body dysmorphia. Muscle dysmorphia is, and some people call it bigorexia, but really it's called muscle dysmorphia. And this is basically just, you never feel like you're big enough. You always want to be bigger. And I have this to a degree. Probably a lot of people do. It just depends how much you have it. Sometimes it can be a motivator to keep working hard. Other times it can be a serious detriment where it can really do damage to your psyche and possibly lead to physical injury or making decisions that are poor. I think what I want to make this one about, I want to look at how can you look at your body from a critical stance. Now a lot of this will be like, oh, this is backed by this study or this study. These are my own thoughts backed with my own education and experience. I think the first thing you should realize when looking at your body is understanding where you are in your fitness journey. If you haven't started yet, you might feel worse, you might feel really good, but understand where you are. I've been in sports since the second grade, so I'm 25 now, so that's you're about 8 in second grade, 25, that's about 17 years, so I've been athletic for at least 17 years. I've been lifting since I was 13, so 12 years, and I still have this. Sometimes I have days where I'm like, ugh, look at my midsection. And I can work on it, but that's not my goal, and I have to make sure I pay attention to my goal. But at the same time, I'm probably the biggest I've ever been. Not way the most, but I have the most lean body tissue, at least from what I can see. So a big part of looking at your body critically is understanding where you are and how much progress you've made. If you haven't started, you obviously haven't made any progress. But once you start making progress, you need to appreciate the progress you've made. That's probably a really big thing that a lot of people tend to miss, because you have to appreciate where you've come from and how far you've gotten, and then you can go back and look at where you want to be. And that's another one. Have a realistic expectation. I know you probably hear that from a lot of people, but you really want to keep your expectations realistic. If they get too out of control or too extreme, you will just end up disappointed. So dial them back. Even have smaller goals that you hit, and then you hit the next one and then the next one. But that's really simple stuff. Another thing I think it's really important to take into consideration is try not to compare yourself to other people. While some people can look at someone and be like, I want to have a body like that, and it not discourage them, a lot of people, they will end up continuing to compare, and it will turn into a negative comparing instead of a positive one. So if you can, try to avoid comparing to others, and in fact, just compare to yourself. Take progress pictures, pay attention to your lifts or your running times, and try to improve from there. It's a lot easier to compare with your past self than it is to compare with someone else, because you're not them. They might have different genetics. Well, obviously they do, but they might have genetics to where they just don't gain as much fat as you do, or they gain more muscle than you do, or they're just stronger. And trying to be that person without their genetics is going to just be a rough road. So try to dial it back, compare it to your past self. You can always be inspired by others, sure, but try not to entirely be all about someone else. Okay, so that's just a couple. There's other things, like make sure you have a good routine. Always be trying to improve. If you're always improving a little bit, soon enough you'll see massive improvement. But it's always small steps. Those small steps could be, hey, I'm going to eat one more healthy snack today. Or I'm going to try to put 5 pounds on my squat. Or I want my legs to be a little bit bigger. Or maybe I want to increase something. I think my last overall tip, because this will be a shorter video, the last overall tip will be understand your body. There's a lot of women out there who want like the big old butt and big legs and small waist. But you can't really change your waist size, not that much. What really creates that little hourglass figure you're probably wanting is if you work on your upper back and your shoulders. That will go a long way to helping you get the body shape you want. And of course, work your legs and your butt and all that. If you want a big butt, you need to work on your big butt and cross your fingers that you have the genetics for it. And even if you don't, you can still make really good progress and have a great butt. But yeah, try to work eclectically. Lots of dudes want big shoulders and chest and back. Some of them forget your legs are important too. And if you have a certain physique in mind, sometimes you put other things on maintenance, but you don't leave them out entirely, okay? No one likes tiny legs on a dude, but you can have them pretty much on a back burner and be like, okay, so I want my upper body to look bigger and stronger. I'm not going to neglect my legs, but they're not my main focus. Right now, during the recording of this video, I'm mostly focused on my back. So everything else gets attention, but it doesn't get as much attention as my back. Short summary, appreciate where you are, where you were, and where you're going. Try not to compare yourself to other people too much, and understand your body and have an eclectic approach. Understand what you want and how to create that image, and pretty much just appreciate yourself. This video is a little less sciencey and ranty. I just want to put something out that might help a few people. So yeah, that's all I really have to say in this one. See you next time.